My beloved child, be still for a little while in my arms, for there are things I desire to engrave deep within your soul, not with the ink of mankind, but with light from heaven above. Before you step through new doors, before you wear the crown I have prepared for you, I must heal within you the most foundational thing. You must know who you are in me. For if you do not recognize your true identity, you will easily allow the voices of the world to name you, allow old pain to clothe you, and allow past failures to raise up a false mirror that makes you see yourself through wounded eyes. But my child, I did not create you to live beneath condemnation. I do not call you by the name of your wound, nor do I define you by the days when you were weak. I see you through mercy, through the covenant of love, through the holy blood that has cleansed every impurity. For it is written, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17. My child, the old things no longer have the right to reign over you. There were times when you walked for so long with a bowed heart, carrying the words people once spoke as though they were an eternal sentence. Some called you unworthy. Some circumstances made you believe you had been forgotten, and some mistakes made you think your future had been closed. But I, your Father, have never shut the door over your life. I have never stopped calling you my beloved child. The labels the world has placed upon your soul are not the names I have given you. You are not a loser, not a child abandoned in a dark corner, not the leftover fragments of your wounds. You are the one I remember, the one I lift up, the one I hold securely in the palm of my hand. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. Listen carefully. My child, I do not call you by the name of sin. I call you by the name of redemption. From the beginning, when I formed mankind from the dust and breathed the breath of life within, I did not merely create a body that could walk upon the earth. I placed within you a breath that belongs to me, a holy mark that darkness cannot erase. Though the dust of life may have covered you, though years of wandering may have dimmed that light, the flame I placed within you has not gone out. Now I am breathing a fresh breath of life upon the dry places in your soul. Just as I once brought the prophet Ezekiel into the valley full of bones, where there was no sign of hope left, I asked him whether those bones could live again. Then, when my word was spoken, bone came together with bone, sinews and flesh clothed them, and breath entered them so that they stood up as a vast army. My child, what I did in that valley, I can also do within you. The parts of you that seem dead will hear my voice. The dreams that were once buried will be awakened. The places where you thought only ashes remained will become altars of new life. Therefore, do not allow the past to sit upon the throne of your heart any longer. It may be a chapter that has passed, but it is not the author of your life. I am the one who continues to write your story. There are pages once soaked with tears, but I have the authority to turn those tears into a river of healing. There are passages once filled with mistakes, but I can use even the cracks so that light may shine through. Remember the story of Simon Peter, the disciple who boldly said he would never deny his teacher. Yet, in the cold night, when the rooster crowed, he denied me 3 times. He wept bitterly, thinking that the calling upon his life had been shattered. But after the resurrection, I did not seek him out to shame him, nor did I recall his failure to crush him. I asked him with love, "Do you love me?" And then I entrusted him again with his mission, "Feed my sheep," John 21:15-17. Do you see, my child? I did not allow Peter's fall to define him in the end. I transformed a man who had once trembled in fear into one who stood up and preached on the day of Pentecost. So do not condemn yourself by what I have already been willing to forgive. Many times, you have grown weary trying to become the image others expected you to be. You looked at one person and blamed yourself for not being good enough. You looked at another and felt pain because you seemed too small. But my child, comparison is a garment that does not fit your soul. I did not shape you according to anyone else's mold. I wove you wonderfully within my wise plan. As it is written, I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalm 139:14. You are not a faded copy of another person. You are a unique whisper in the sacred hymn of my creation. Your path has its own rhythm. Your gifts have their own fragrance, and your calling has its own echo. When you try to force yourself to become someone else, you lose the beauty I placed within you. But when you return to being yourself in me, you become a living witness of grace. I know there are days when you pray and still feel silence. Seasons when you walk forward without understanding why the road must twist and turn. But believe this, your identity is not confirmed by applause, titles, achievements, or human recognition. Those things may come and go, shine for a moment, and then fade. But what I speak over you remains forever. You are a child of light, created to reflect glory in dark places. Within you is a calling higher than fame, deeper than work, and more enduring than every earthly role. It is the calling of a soul that belongs to me, walks with me, and becomes a source of peace for others. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. You do not need to fight for the light, you only need to remain close to me, and the light will flow naturally through your life. So today, let me remove from you every invisible cord that has bound your mind. Give me the criticisms that still echo, the insecurities you have kept hidden, and the shame you thought you had to carry for a lifetime. I will not use them to condemn you. I will use love to wash them clean. When you kneel before me, you do not kneel as one rejected, but as a child returning to the Father's house. And I do not stand far away to judge. I run to embrace you, clothe you in a new robe, and place the ring of covenant upon your hand. Just as the father in the parable welcomed the prodigal son home. For my heart rejoices when you remember that you belong to me. From now on, learn to see yourself through the eyes of heaven. Do not look through the distorted mirror of hurt. And do not listen to the voices that make you forget your holy dignity. When darkness whispers that you are not good enough, answer with the truth that I have chosen you. When the past says you cannot change, remember that I am the one who makes all things new. When the world demands that you prove your worth, rest in the love that was given to you before you ever accomplished anything. My beloved child, I am not merely repairing your life, I am restoring your identity. I am not merely wiping away your tears, I am raising you up as a testimony of grace. Walk forward, not as one who survived by chance, but as one redeemed by love. Lift up your head, for your crown does not come from the world, but from my hand. And what I place upon you, no one can take away. My beloved child, quiet your heart and listen to my voice, calling you from the deepest place of your soul. Before I lead you into a new season of glory, before I place upon you the garment of maturity and mark you with the seal of promise, I desire to touch the place you have long hidden, the place where you once called yourself by sorrowful names. There were years when you allowed the words of people to become the final voice over your life. There were wounds you thought had closed, yet they were still silently teaching you to fear, to doubt, to withdraw, and to believe you were unworthy of being loved. But my child, I did not create you to live with your head bowed beneath the shadow of what has passed. I do not call you by failure, I do not measure you by mistakes, and I do not define you by the tears you shed in the dark of night. I call you my child, the one I love, the soul I redeemed with unfailing love. For it is written, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Do you see, my child? The old things may once have touched you, but they no longer have the authority to name you. I know you have often stood before the mirror without recognizing the beauty I placed within you. You see shortcomings, but I see a heavenly seed. You see the times you fell, but I see a soul that still knows how to rise when it hears the Father calling. You see dust, but I remember the day I breathed life into mankind, and by that breath, dust became a living soul. In the same way, within you, there is a light that does not belong to this lowly earth. It comes from me, sown into you before you even knew how to name yourself. The world may have covered you with layers of hurt, rejection, and weary seasons of waiting, but dust cannot destroy light. And now, I am breathing a new breath upon you. Just as I spoke to the prophet Ezekiel in the valley of dry bones, O dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Ezekiel 37:4. What you thought was dead, I can still call back to life. What you thought was lost, I can still cause to sprout again. What you thought was nothing but ashes will become, in my hands, a testimony of restoration. My beloved child, do not allow the past to sit upon the throne of the present. Do not allow an old criticism to become the law that governs your heart. Do not allow an abandonment from years ago to make you doubt that you are worthy of being embraced. I saw all of it, but I also saw what the world did not see. You still belong to me. When people pushed you away, I drew you near. When people misunderstood you, I still knew you fully. When you no longer had the strength to explain yourself, I still read your sighs as prayers. It is written, I have called you by your name, you are mine. Isaiah 43:1. Let that word soak into your soul like gentle rain upon dry ground. You are not one forgotten in the crowd. You are not a faint echo in someone else's life. You are a child of covenant, the one kept in the palm of my hand. A vessel I am cleansing so that I may fill it with new oil. I want you to remember the story of Gideon, who was threshing wheat in a winepress because he feared the enemy. In his own eyes, he was small, weak, and insignificant. He saw his family as lowly and himself as the least. But when my angel appeared to him, the first word was not a rebuke, but a word that awakened identity. The Lord is with you. Mighty warrior, Judges 6:12. Do you see the wondrous tenderness in the way I call my people? I did not call Gideon according to the fear that bound him, but according to the courage I had already placed within him. I did not call him according to the place where he was hiding, but according to the mission he would enter. In the same way, I do not call you according to the dark room where you once cried, but according to the dawn I am preparing. I do not call you according to the years when you doubted yourself, but according to the grace that is making you strong. When I call, my voice does not merely describe you, it creates you, lifts you up, clothes you with a new identity, and leads you out of the place you thought was your destiny. Therefore, no longer place yourself upon the scale of comparison. Each time you look at another person to measure your worth, your heart moves away from the peace I have given you. I did not create you to be someone's shadow, nor did I make you as a repeated copy. I wrote upon you a distinct mark, placed within you a unique melody, and gave you a journey that no one else can walk in your place. Your fingerprints are a reminder that I did not make you carelessly. Your personality, your tears, your sensitivity, your longing for what is holy, even the cracks that have made you more humble. All of these can be used by me to reflect glory. It is written, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works." Ephesians 2:10. You are not a product of chance. You are the work of my hands, and my workmanship does not need to compete with another work of mine to prove its value. At times, you thought your life's calling was found in position, praise, success, or human recognition. But I tell you that the deepest calling does not begin in the crowd, it begins in the secret place, where your soul bows down and hears me whisper. Fame may change, work may shift, seasons may open and close, like doors before the wind, but your identity in me cannot be shaken. When you know who you are before me, you will no longer have to beg the world to confirm your worth. When you understand that you are loved, you will no longer need to trade your peace to remain in places that do not belong to you. When you realize you have been chosen in grace, you will stop living like one rejected, for it is written, "But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people belonging to God." 1 Peter 2:9. That word is not only for those who appear strong in the eyes of the world, it is also for you, even while you tremble and learn to believe again. My child, I do not deny what you have gone through, but I will not allow those things to rule over you any longer. I will take the place where you were wounded and make it a source of compassion. I will take the memory that once caused you pain and make it evidence that my grace can enter even the most tightly locked rooms. I will take the weakness that once made you ashamed and turn it into the place where my power is revealed. For my word has declared, my grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. You do not need to pretend to be strong before me. Come to me like a weary child returning to the Father's embrace. Lay down the labels you have carried for too long. Let me remove from you the garment of inferiority. Loosen from your neck the cord of self-condemnation. Wash from your forehead the mark of shame, and clothe you in the bright garment of one restored. From today onward, when the old shadow tries to call your name, answer with my word. When fear says you are not good enough, remember that I chose the weak things to shame the strong. When memory says you were abandoned, remember that I have said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Hebrews 13:5. When comparison pulls you away from peace, return to the truth that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Walk slowly but firmly, not as one who must prove their existence, but as one whom the Heavenly Father has called by name. I am renewing your identity, not with thunder that terrifies you, but with love as faithful as the dawn. And as you gradually believe what I have spoken over you more than what the world once said, you will see chains fall away, your soul stand upright, your eyes shine again, and your life become a quiet song declaring that you are no longer a prisoner of yesterday, you are my beloved child, born for the light, lifted up by grace, and sent forth to carry the fragrance of heaven into the world. My beloved child, quiet your heart and listen, for not every calling resounds with sound, and not every awakening begins with an outward shaking. There are moments in human life when heaven seems to draw nearer, and the soul suddenly realizes that it was not born to drift aimlessly through the currents of this world. You are standing in a season where I am touching dry hearts, opening the eyes of those who once slumbered, and calling wandering souls back beneath the shadow of my loving wings. The world may be in turmoil, human hearts may be confused, and darkness may stretch out like a thick night. But do not forget what has been written. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Precisely because the night grows deep, The light within you must become even clearer, steadier, and gentler. I know you often wonder why I would place my hand upon your life. Why, among so many who are stronger, wiser, and bolder, I still call your name in the secret place. My child, I am not looking for a golden vessel that boasts in its own brilliance. I delight in using an earthen vessel that allows me to pour the life of heaven within. I do not measure you by the applause of people, nor do I value you by the achievements you have gathered. What I look upon is a heart that knows how to soften before my voice, that knows how to bow down when pride wants to stand tall, that knows how to say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." The more you humble yourself, the more room my grace has to flow. The more you let go of self-reliance, the more my power is fully revealed in your weakness. Therefore, do not fear when I lead you away from familiar shores. There are promised lands that cannot be entered by feet still clinging tightly to the old Egypt. There are miracles that cannot be seen if you remain standing forever upon the safe sand. Do you remember Peter, when night fell upon the sea? The wind rose and the boat was beaten by the waves. The disciples were terrified because they thought they saw a ghost. But in the very place that seemed filled only with danger, I came walking on the water and said, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." Peter asked to come to me, and while his eyes remained fixed on me, the deep waters became a pathway, though he later looked at the wind and waves and began to sink. My hand still reached him in time. My child, I do not call you to step out so that you may drown. I call you to step out so you may know that my power sustains you, even in the place where your reason says it is impossible. At times, you think faith means understanding everything before obeying. But I teach you that faith often begins where you cannot yet see the road. Yet you still trust that the one who leads you is faithful. Abraham went out without knowing where he was going, but he knew who had called him. Moses lifted his staff before the Red Sea while the waters had not yet parted. But obedience opened a path through the heart of the abyss. Mary said, "Let it be to me according to your word," before she fully understood the mystery being formed within her. My child, the things I have spoken over your life are not limited by your present circumstances. My word that goes out from my mouth will not return to me empty. And when I have sown a promise, my timing will cause it to bloom in its proper season. Yet hearing my voice is not meant to be kept within your heart like a buried treasure. Light is not given to be placed under a basket, but to shine for everyone in the house. If you have been comforted, become an arm of comfort. If you have been forgiven, open the door of forgiveness for others. If you have been lifted from the depths, do not look down on those who are still struggling in the mire. When you love without demanding anything in return, you are reflecting my heart. When you speak the truth without wounding others through pride, you are allowing your lips to be sanctified. When you choose peace instead of conflict, prayer instead of resentment, kindness instead of judgment, you become a small lamp lit by heaven in the dark alleys of the world. I know there are days when your heart grows weary. Sometimes you pray and it seems as though heaven is silent. You sow goodness and see only dry ground. You walk uprightly and still encounter misunderstanding. But remember the story of Elijah by the brook Cherith. After he obeyed me, he was not immediately brought into a palace, but led to a quiet place, where the brook flowed and ravens brought him bread and meat. That is the wonder of my ways. I can use what you do not expect to sustain you in a season of solitude. And when the brook dried up, it was not a sign that I had abandoned him, but a sign that I was opening a new chapter in the house of the widow of Zarephath. My child, when an old source closes, do not be quick to lament that grace has ended. Often, it is the moment I am moving you toward another hand, another door, another miracle you have never imagined. So, let your heart settle before me. Do not allow the noise of the world to determine the rhythm of your soul. Today's anxieties are like morning mist. When my sun of righteousness rises, they will dissolve in the warmth of my presence. You do not need to carry tomorrow upon your small shoulders. For I have said, each day has enough trouble of its own. Give me what you cannot control. Place into my hands the questions that do not yet have answers. And let my spirit wash away the dust of fear clinging to your mind. In stillness, you will learn that I have never been absent in waiting. You will understand that I have never been late in tears. You will recognize that my hand is still wiping each one away. My beloved child, the journey ahead is not merely a journey for you to become more comfortable, but for you to be transformed more deeply. I will not always remove you from the furnace, but I will be with you in the furnace, just as I was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the blazing fire, where not a single hair of their heads was burned. I will not let trials devour you. I will use them to melt away impurities, so that what is true within you may shine like gold refined by fire. Whatever I allow to touch your life is not beyond my governance. Pain is not the final voice. Loss is not the end. The wilderness is not a grave, but it can become a holy school where you learn to hear my voice more clearly than every other voice. Let your life become a prayer that walks among humanity, not loudly displaying itself, but quietly releasing fragrance like incense rising before my throne. Let your ordinary days become a sanctuary, where every thought is washed in truth, every word is seasoned with kindness, and every small action bears the mark of love. Live like a song that needs no stage, like a candle that burns without needing anyone's applause, until the dark room becomes less cold, until someone trembling finds a little warmth to keep walking. When you are weak, do not be ashamed of that weakness. Lean on me, for my power is made perfect in weakness. When you lose your way, do not panic before the unclear crossroads. Return to my word, for my word is a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. When you stumble, do not remain lying beneath the accusation of darkness. Take hold of my grace and rise again, for my mercies are new every morning. I am your Father, the place you can return to without hiding the cracks within your heart. I am your refuge when storms rise, your shade when your soul is scorched under the fierce sun, the one who began a good work in you and will not abandon what I have started. So go, my child, but do not go as one chased by fear. Go as one led by peace. Do not go in your own fading strength, but by my Spirit, who upholds you with every breath. Do not go searching for light as though you were still empty, but go carrying the light I have placed within you into places still covered with sorrowful mist. There are people waiting for a gentle word from you, rooms waiting for the small candle you will light, and hearts longing to see through your life that dawn is still real. Keep walking, my beloved child, for I go before you. I am with you, and I will uphold you with my everlasting arms. Finally, my beloved child, rise up, but do not rise by the hardness of a heart exhausted from struggling. Rise by the tenderness of a soul touched by grace, by the steadiness of a heart that knows it is never alone. Do not walk as though you are forgotten in the vastness of life, for I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Your name is not swept from heaven's memory by the wind, and your tears do not fall to the ground unseen by me. Do not live as one without purpose, without calling, without a dawn ahead, for before you even knew yourself, I had already placed within you the breath of life, light to guide the way, and a testimony to lift up wandering souls. You do not need to be radiant in order to be loved by me, nor do you need to be perfect in order to be used by me. You only need to open your heart, and I will turn the small things within you into a cool stream for the thirsty, a warm flame for the cold, and a whisper of hope for those who thought they had lost everything.